All right, today we're going to take a look at a pretty radical new vision for enterprise software. We're talking about a future where AI completely changes how we deploy and manage complex systems like IBM Sterling Integrator.
Seriously, just stop and think about that for a second. Imagine a world where all those weeks of planning, the late nights spent troubleshooting, and all those manual checklists for a huge software rollout, what if that could all be handled automatically? That's the exact future we're diving into here.
So let's kick things off with the big idea behind this whole transformation, the AI deployment vision. And just to be clear, this isn't about some single new feature. It's a completely different way of thinking about complexity itself.
And let's be honest, this is a pain point we all know way too well. I mean, enterprise-level software has so many moving parts, so many dependencies and environmental checks, the whole process is often incredibly slow, really prone to human error, and just eats up resources.
Okay, so the tech at the heart of this whole vision is something called multi-agent AI. Now, don't let the jargon scare you off. The absolute easiest way to think about it is not as one single giant AI, but more like a coordinated digital team. You've got different AI agents, each with a very specific job, and they all work together to get the mission done. So let's meet this digital crew, shall we? First up, you've got the planner. Its job is to figure out the best strategy. Then the validator steps in, and it checks all the prerequisites and the configurations. The executor, well, you can probably guess, it carries out the actual deployment steps. And finally, you have the monitor, keeping a constant watchful eye over the system to make sure everything's running just right after the install.
All right, so we've met the team. Now let's see how this crew gets put to work in its very first practical application, a fully AI-powered installation. And the difference this makes is, well, it's like night and day. With the old-school manual process, you're always reacting, you're slow, and you're open to all sorts of risk. But with an AI-powered process, everything flips to being proactive, optimized, and way faster. Instead of just reacting when things break, the system is actually designed to see problems coming and stop them from ever happening in the first place.
And the level of detail the AI can handle is pretty amazing. We're talking about automating everything from the basic server and client checks all the way to generating these highly optimized installation plans. It even gets into the really tricky stuff, like managing secure network configurations between a LAN and a DMZ, or recommending the perfect container setups for your environment.
But you know, deployment is really just the beginning. The exact same principles can be used for other critical, super time-consuming tasks, like managing data maps and handling system upgrades.
I want you to just picture a tool like this for a second, the Sterling B2B AI Mapping Assistant. This is where the AI starts to get really smart, moving beyond just the infrastructure to actually understanding your business's data flows.
And the process is so simple, but it's incredibly powerful. First, the assistant just reviews all your data maps. Doesn't matter if they're EDI, XML, or JSON. Next, it intelligently checks them to make sure they're compliant with all the required standards. And finally, and this is the real game changer, it offers up automated corrections for any problems it finds. That alone could save countless hours of manual work. And you can apply this same intelligence to upgrades, too. Instead of that terrifying all-at-once big bang upgrade that everyone dreads, the AI could orchestrate a much safer, phased rollout. It would run automated tests at every single stage, ensuring everything is stable and dramatically speeding up the whole certification process. So when you put all these pieces together, it starts to paint a much bigger picture. We're moving away from thinking about AI for just individual tasks and more towards a continuous end-to-end AI service that manages the entire lifecycle of the software.
And that right there is the key mindset shift. It's not about calling in the AI team for a single installation and then they're gone. It's about having that team on duty 24/7, constantly optimizing, monitoring, and maintaining the health of your entire environment.
So a complete service like this would cover pretty much the whole shebang. We're talking readiness assessments before you even start, all the way through to automating company policies and intelligently fixing issues before they can ever impact your business. It's a truly holistic approach to system management. Okay, so let's bring this all together and really focus on the big question. Why does this future direction actually matter? What's the bottom line?
Now, it is really important to be clear about this. This is not a product you can go out and buy off the shelf today. The source material itself calls this a promising future direction, but understanding where things are headed is absolutely crucial for planning how we're all going to manage these complex systems tomorrow.
So, the first and most obvious benefit is just pure speed. You're taking a process that can take weeks or even months, and you're crunching it down into days, maybe even hours.
Second, by automating all these complex checks and procedures, you just dramatically cut down on the risk of human error. And that leads to more stable and more reliable systems right from day one. Third, you get to move from being reactive to being proactive. The system doesn't just crash and then tell you something went wrong. Instead, it gives you intelligent alerts, often predicting and preventing issues long before they actually happen.
And finally, with all that automated policy enforcement and map validation we talked about, maintaining compliance suddenly becomes this continuous, automated process that just runs in the background. It's not some frantic last-minute manual audit anymore.
When you look at it all together, these benefits fundamentally change the entire game. This isn't just about doing the same old things a little bit faster. It's about shifting the focus of your most valuable resource, your people, away from reactive firefighting and towards proactive innovation, all because you've embedded speed, accuracy, intelligence, and compliance into the system itself.
And that really just leaves us with one final thought to take away from all this. If you had this digital crew at your disposal tomorrow, the planner, the validator, the executor, and the monitor, what is the very first, most painful task that you would hand over to them? It's a pretty powerful thing to think about.